More what happened
What's going on?
inside?
So right now we're at lunch break. Adamo Freeman, I guess it's the state of New Hampshire versus Adam Miller. But this morning so far, there's been three people who have testified. Two of them Manch PD employees, Dave DuPont, and then John Hopkins. Dave DuPont was a detective tasked with investigating the calls that Adamo made on last October 4th to follow up on the assault done by Darren Murphy to West High School student Frank Harrington. And so anyway, this morning we heard DuPont speak, we heard Hopkins speak, who essentially said, I don't believe I have any expectation of privacy when I'm out in the public. When I'm on the phone, I'd like to be at least informed that I'm being recorded. But he did admit that he was aware of CopBlock, that he'd been on CopBlock's site itself, and that he knows that they do oftentimes solicit comments and videos. So
Yeah, what do you do? What does CopBlock do?
CopBlock's just a decentralized site. We advocate for police accountability. So it's a place where people who have had interactions themselves or witness interactions can document those interactions. And
So you're documenting. CopBlock is documenting cops.
Exactly.
And that detective already stated in the court that he knows CopBlock.
Yep. Yeah. Everybody involved thus far that has testified has acknowledged that they're aware of CopBlock, and they, which means from its core function is accountability and documentation, shining the spotlight of transparency on actions to then hold the aggressors accountable. That's essentially what the site's about. So the last person who testified was West High School's principal, Mary Ellen McGorry, and she too admitted that she was familiar with CopBlock, but she claimed that she's not a public official, that she's an employee of Manchester. So I don't know what kind of arbitrary differentiation she's trying to build in there. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What's Manchester town?
Yeah, this is the town, Manchester.
And she's saying that it's not public.
She says even though she takes her salary is paid for by taxpayers, she's not a public official, but she's an employee of Manchester, which I don't know. She in a previous capacity before she was a principal, she actually worked for Hillsborough County Attorneys, which is the same outfit that's trying Adamo right now. So it's a little incestuous, and she knows, hey, this may be a way that my argument may be weakened, by the fact that he is reporting a public official. So she was proactively trying to say, I'm not a public official. So it really doesn't make sense to anybody who can think logically or clearly, I would say. But and before she went in and testified, I saw her and John Hopkins and DuPont out in the hall, and I said, hey, how did you feel confident in your actions? In your role last fall, she, instead of coming to the aid of a student, Frank Harrington, who was assaulted by Darren Murphy, she backed Darren Murphy's actions, and when Adamo called her on the phone, said, oh, it's under investigation, and hung up on him. So it really shows, like, she's more concerned with protecting herself and her colleagues than for the welfare of the students that are at her school. And this whole 21 years that Adamo's facing from these 3 felony counts of wiretapping are indicative of the threats and the links that these folks will go to, the people that claim to serve and protect you, but instead they're trying to throw people in cages who make light of their actions and try to hold them accountable. So it's I'm glad to see there's I would say 90 to 100 people were in the courtroom this morning, and it's awesome to see the support and to know that people are watching and that people are working together and standing up more. They try to threaten people with years in cages or ransoms, fines, but instead of dissuading and having a chilling effect, it's only making more people realize this and stand up against it. So pretty awesome to see.
So do you think we can have him talking to live stream if he comes out?
Well, he's currently in jail at Valley Street Jail down the street until this Friday, the 17th. He was in a related that somewhat indirectly an incident that somewhat indirectly related to this that also happened in Manchester. He's serving a 2-month sentence with good time. He'll be out a little before that, but. Just to briefly bring you up to date, in early 2010, 4 off-duty Manchester cops beat up a guy named Chris Meklovich outside a bar here called Strange Brew, and right away the city attorney said we're not going to charge them and hold them accountable. And over a year later, the state attorney general said it wasn't the best day in Manchester PD's history, but we're not going to charge them. So about a week after that happened, Adamo and a few dozen of us went outside the police department right across the street and to express our displeasure and point out the clear double standards. And some people were writing with chalk on the walls, some statements, some people handed stuff out or having conversations. But Adamo, 8 of us were arrested that day, including Adamo, and he went limp when he was arrested. They charged him with resisting. He wasn't aggressive or anything, he was passive. But he went limp, and they found him guilty. This judge found him guilty of resisting, and so he appealed it, wanted to argue in front of a jury of his peers, but instead of having that date, they sent the letter that had the date and time to an address that doesn't even exist. So they just told Ademo, nope, you have to go sit in the cage. So that's why he's now sitting in there. It was either a bureaucratic error, it was done on purpose, again, to try to target somebody who's trying to hold them accountable, and that's what I think is a more plausible scenario. But all this information from the current stint is at copblock.org/pledge, and from the felony wiretapping case is now in trial for is at copblock.org/freeademo. There's over 24 background videos and a lot of related posts and media hits and stuff like that, so check it out if you're at all interested.
Do you feel you get a lot